Tycoon left wife for mistress. At the entrance, saw her on the stairs holding their child. He hadn't answered her. Just zipped his suitcase, kissed Theo's forehead while the boy slept. 6 years old, smelling of soap and innocence, and walked out without looking back. Now, in the sterile glow of his new apartment, minimalist, modern, soulless, he stared at his reflection in the glass. The man looking back was impeccably dressed. Charcoal suit, silk tie, cufflinks worth more than most people's rent. But his eyes, hollow, tired. The eyes of a man who had climbed every mountain only to realize there was nothing waiting at the top but wind. The door opened behind him. Light footsteps, perfume, jasmine, and something synthetic, expensive, new. Camille. Still brooding? She purred, slipping her arms around his waist, pressing her cheek against his back. It's been 3 weeks, Alex. She's not calling. She's not begging. Let it go. He didn't move, didn't pull away, didn't lean into her either. She never begged for anything in her life, he said quietly. Not even when I forgot our anniversary. Not even when I missed Theo's first steps because of a merger. Camille turned him around, her red lips curving into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Then she's a fool, and you're free. Isn't that what you wanted? No more pretending. No more suffocating dinners where you both chew in silence. He looked at her, really looked, her cheekbones sharp as knives, her gaze calculating. She was beautiful, yes, magnetic, but when she touched him, he didn't feel warmth. He felt transaction. I wanted to feel alive again, he murmured. And now you do, she said, kissing him lightly, possessively. With me. He let her kiss him, closed his eyes, tried to believe it, but all he saw was Isabella, standing in the kitchen at 2 a.m., humming softly while warming a bottle for Theo when he had colic. Her hair messy, her robe torn at the hem, her eyes heavy with exhaustion, but glowing with love. Real love, the kind that didn't ask for applause, the kind that showed up even when no one was watching. I have to go to the house tomorrow, he said suddenly, pulling away. Pick up the last of my things. Camille's smile faltered. The house? You mean her house? It's still technically mine too, he said, though even he didn't believe it anymore. Legalities, papers, artwork, my father's watch. She narrowed her eyes. You're not going to see her, are you? No, he lied. Just the staff. She won't be there. She's avoiding me. Camille studied him, then nodded slowly. Fine, I'll come with you. I want to see where the great Alexander Vance used to live. Before me. He didn't argue. Maybe he wanted her there. Maybe he needed her there to remind himself why he left. To remind himself he had chosen this passion, excitement, youth over the quiet, over the familiar, over the woman who knew his soul better than he knew himself. The next morning, the sky was clear. Too clear. Like the universe was mocking him. He drove the Bentley himself. Camille sat beside him, scrolling through her phone, occasionally snapping photos of the passing skyline. This city worships you, she said. Everyone knows your name, your face, your empire. He didn't answer. When they pulled up to the iron gates of the estate, the house he'd bought for Isabella 10 years ago, after Theo was born, his hands tightened on the wheel. The gates opened automatically. Of course they did. He was still registered in the system, still master of the house in the eyes of machines. Camille gasped as the mansion came into view. My God, Alex, it's like a palace. It was white stone, ivy crawling up the columns, the garden Isabella had planted herself. Roses, lavender, sunflowers, now slightly overgrown. A home, not a showpiece. A home. He parked, took a deep breath, opened the car door. Camille followed, heels clicking on the stone path. Which room was yours? I want to see where you slept. Before me. He ignored her, walked up the front steps, reached for the key in his pocket, then stopped. The door was unlocked. His heart pounded. She knows I'm coming. He pushed the door open. The foyer was exactly as he remembered. Marble floors, the antique mirror, the painting Theo had made in kindergarten hanging crookedly on the wall. Dad plus MOM plus me equals forever. It read in wobbly letters. Camille stepped inside, looking around with wide, greedy eyes. This place is perfect. We could totally renovate, turn it into something modern, something else. Alexander didn't hear her, because at that moment he looked up, and there she was, at the top of the grand staircase. Isabella. Her hair was tied back loosely. She wore no makeup. Her sweater was faded, her jeans worn at the knees. In her arms, wrapped in a blanket, sleepy-eyed but smiling Theo. Theo saw him first. "Daddy!" The boy squealed, squirming in her arms, reaching out. Alexander's breath caught. His legs locked. His world tilted. Isabella didn't move, didn't smile, didn't cry. She just held their son and looked at him, not with rage, not with pleading, with something far worse, knowing. She knew why he was here. She knew who stood beside him. She knew he had come to take the last pieces of himself away from her, and she was letting him, but not without making him see what he was leaving behind. Camille, sensing the shift, followed his gaze. "Who is that?" she whispered. Alexander couldn't speak. Theo wriggled harder. "Mama, put me down. Daddy's here. Daddy's here." Isabella tightened her grip slightly. Not enough to hurt him, just enough to keep him safe. Her eyes never left Alexander's. And in that silence, in that single, suspended moment, Alexander felt everything he had buried come crashing through the walls he'd built around his heart. The guilt, the regret, the love, still there, stubborn, unkillable. He had left his wife for his mistress, but standing there at the foot of the stairs, staring up at the woman who had loved him through failures, through triumphs, through sleepless nights and silent dinners, holding the child they had made together, he realized he hadn't left Isabella. He had left himself. And now, as Theo reached for him with tiny, trusting hands, Alexander understood the terrible truth. Some doors once walked out of cannot be walked back through. Not unchanged, not unbroken, not without paying the price. Camille tugged his sleeve. "Alex, are you okay?" He didn't answer. He couldn't, because for the first time in years, Alexander Vance was not a tycoon, not a businessman, not a man who owned empires. He was just a father, staring up at the ruins of his own making, and wondering, with a heart shattered into 1,000 pieces, how do I fix this? The air smelled like home, like laundry detergent and Theo's strawberry shampoo, like the vanilla candle Isabella always burned in the living room, like memories. Camille shifted uncomfortably. "Should we go up?" Alexander didn't move, couldn't. His throat was too tight, his chest too heavy. Isabella finally spoke. One word, soft, final. "Alexander." His name on her lips, not shouted, not hissed, just spoken, like a sigh, like a farewell, undid him. He took one step forward, then stopped, because Isabella shook her head, ever so slightly, a warning, a boundary. "Don't come closer." Camille, impatient, called out, "Hi, I'm Camille, Alex's girlfriend. We're just here to pick up his things. We won't be long." Isabella's gaze flickered to her, just for a second. No anger, no jealousy, just pity. Then back to Alexander. "You didn't tell her about him, did you?" she asked, nodding at Theo. Alexander swallowed. I was going to." "When?" Isabella asked, voice still calm. Too calm. "After the wedding? After the honeymoon? After she asked why you flinch every time a child laughs?" Camille's face fell. "He has a son?" Alexander turned to her. "Camille, it's not. It's everything." Isabella cut in, her voice finally cracking, just a little. "He's everything." Theo, oblivious, giggled. "Daddy, come play trucks with me." Alexander's eyes burned. He blinked rapidly. Isabella adjusted Theo in her arms. "You can take your things. The staff packed them. They're by the door. Take them and go." "Isabella, please," he started. "No," she said, firmer now. "You made your choice. Now live with it, but don't stand in my foyer and pretend you're still part of this. You walked away. So walk. Camille grabbed his arm. Let's just go. This is uncomfortable. Alexander didn't move. He stared at Theo, at his son's bright eyes, at the way he chewed his lower lip when he was excited, just like Alexander used to. Can I hold him? He whispered. Isabella's face softened for half a second, then hardened again. No, one word. A guillotine. He flinched. Camille pulled him toward the door. Come on, Alex. This is pathetic. He let her lead him, like a ghost, like a man already dead. As they passed the packed boxes by the door, his suits, his books, his father's watch, he didn't look at them. He looked back, up the stairs. Isabella was still there, still holding Theo, still watching him. And as he stepped out into the sunlight, suitcase in hand, mistress at his side, empire at his feet, he knew he had never been poorer in his life. That night, alone in his new apartment, Camille had left, annoyed, saying she needed space to think. Alexander sat on the floor, surrounded by boxes. He opened one. Inside, Theo's baby shoes, the ones Isabella had refused to throw away. He picked one up, tiny, blue, worn at the heel. He pressed it to his chest. And for the first time in 20 years, Alexander Vance wept. Not for the money, not for the mansion, not for the mistress, but for the boy on the stairs, and the woman who still held him, even when he had let her go. The story had only just begun, and the stairs, they were still waiting for him to climb them, as a man, not as a tycoon, but as a father, willing to beg, willing to break, willing to become someone worthy of being looked at with love from the top. Again, certo, agora tu como narrador e storyteller desenvolva a historia sem marcacos com o nome de cada tópico que for desenvolve. Mi conti sobrio tópico tu com dialogo como su faço espectador. Sempre lembrando de desenvolver com muita moco. Com muitos sentimentos de forma que a estrutura de narrativa utiliza uma linha temporal linear de modo o espectador sentir o que o personagem está sentindo amigos. Com 6.000 characters quen 3 max. Preview. You feel the air shift before you. Even see her. It's late autumn in Manhattan. Golden leaves skittering across sidewalks. The scent of roasted chestnuts and distant exhaust. The city humming with restless energy. Alexander Vance is sitting alone at the bar of Leclerc, one of those sleek, velvet rope places where power brokers whisper deals over $50 martinis. He's not drinking to celebrate. He's drinking to forget, or maybe to remember. It's hard to tell anymore. His tie is loose. His cufflinks, platinum, engraved with his initials, catch the low amber light. He stares into his glass like it holds the answer to a question he's too afraid to ask. And then, she walks in. Camille Dubois. She doesn't enter a room. She claims it. Black dress. Not too short, not too tight. Just enough to make every man turn and every woman stiffen. Her heels click like a metronome against the marble floor. Her perfume, jasmine and something darker, spicier, cuts through the cigar smoke and leather upholstery. Her hair, dark chocolate waves, cascading over one shoulder. Her lips, painted the color of crushed pomegranates. She sees him before he sees her, and she smiles. Not sweet, not shy, predatory. You feel it in your gut, the way the air thickens around her, the way the bartender straightens his posture, the way Alexander, without even looking up, tenses, like an animal sensing a storm. Alexander Vance? She purrs, sliding onto the stool beside him as if she's been invited. I've been waiting to run into you. He finally looks up, and you see it, the flicker in his eyes. Not attraction, not yet. Recognition. He knows who she is. Camille Dubois, art curator, social climber, the woman who charmed her way into the Met Gala without an invite, and left with 3 billionaires' phone numbers. I don't recall giving you permission to sit, he says, voice low, flat. She laughs, a sound like silk tearing. Oh, darling, Permission is for employees. I'm not here to work for you. I'm here to wake you up. He doesn't smile, doesn't move, but you feel it, the pulse in his temple, the way his fingers tighten around the glass. She's gotten under his skin already. What do you want, Camille? He asks. She leans in, close enough that her breath warms his ear. I want to know why a man who owns half the skyline sleeps alone. I want to know why a man who can buy anything looks like he's lost everything. He pulls back, just slightly, but it's enough. You don't know me, he mutters. I know men like you, she counters, undeterred. Men who build empires to fill holes they don't even know they have. Men who marry good women and then forget how to look at them. Men who wake up one day and realize they've been playing a role, not living a life. He stares at her, hard. And you, the spectator, heart pounding, you feel the crack in his armor. The tiny fissure. She's speaking truths he's buried for years. Truths Isabella whispered in the dark. Truths he ignored because they hurt too much. Why are you here? He asks again, quieter now. She smiles. Slow. Dangerous. Because you're bored. Because you're empty. Because you're still young enough to start over. If you're brave enough to burn it all down. He doesn't answer. She signals the bartender. 2 more. The same. And put them on my tab. Alexander frowns. I don't let women pay for my drinks. She turns to him, eyes gleaming. Then let me pay for something else. Your attention. One night. No strings. No expectations. Just see what happens when you stop pretending. He should walk away. You know he should. But you also know, deep in your chest, where fear and longing tangle, that he won't. Because Camille isn't just beautiful. She's mirrored. She reflects back the man he used to be, before boardrooms, before compromises, before silence at the dinner table. She reflects back passion, risk, fire, and God. How he misses fire. They leave the bar together, not touching, not yet. The city wraps around them. Neon signs, honking cabs, laughter spilling from open restaurant doors. He walks slightly ahead. She matches his pace effortlessly. You're not what I expected, he says finally. Oh, she smirks. What did you expect? A gold digger with fake tits and a fake laugh. He doesn't answer. She laughs again, softer this time, almost human. I have money, Alexander. Not your kind of money, but enough. I don't need your name. I don't need your credit line. I need your spark. The one you've been suffocating under board reports and polite conversation. He stops walking, turns to her. And what if there's no spark left? She steps closer, so close her chest nearly brushes his. Then I'll strike the match myself. You feel it, the electricity, the danger, the thrill. It's intoxicating, terrifying. You want to scream at him, run. This is how it starts. This is how everything falls apart. But he doesn't run. He kisses her, right there on the sidewalk under the flickering street lamp. A kiss that's not gentle, not sweet. It's hungry, desperate, like a man gasping for air after years underwater. And Camille? She kisses him back like she's been waiting for this moment her whole life. Weeks pass. You watch as Alexander slips. Not all at once. Not dramatically, but quietly, insidiously. He cancels dinner with Isabella. Last-minute meeting. He forgets Theo's school play. Urgent investor call. He starts coming home later, smelling like jasmine, smiling at his phone. Isabella notices. Of course she does. But she doesn't scream, doesn't cry. She watches him with quiet, wounded eyes. The kind of eyes that have seen betrayal coming from miles away and still hoped it wouldn't arrive. One night, while Alexander showers, Isabella picks up his phone. Just for a second, just to check the weather. A text lights up the screen. Camille, miss your hands on me. Come over tonight? I'll be waiting, naked. Isabella doesn't gasp, doesn't throw the phone. She places it back on the counter, smooths her robe, walks to the kitchen, pours herself a glass of water, and cries silently while staring out the window. You feel her pain like it's your own. The betrayal isn't in the kiss. It's in the absence, the way he doesn't look at her anymore, the way he doesn't ask about her day, the way he doesn't notice when she changes her hair. Camille, meanwhile, is everywhere. She sends him voice notes singing French lullabies. She shows up at his office with coffee. Just because. She wears his shirts, takes selfies in his penthouse bathroom, tags him in Instagram stories with captions like, "Who says fairy tales don't come true?" Winking face at Alexander Vance, he doesn't stop her. He lets her post, lets her claim him, lets her rewrite his story, because with her he feels alive, young, desired, unburdened. One evening, Camille drapes herself across his lap in his study, scrolling through her phone. "Look," she says, showing him a photo. The two of them at a gala, her in emerald silk, him in a tuxedo, both smiling like they've never known sorrow. "We look like royalty." He glances at it, forces a smile. "You know what I love most about you?" she murmurs, tracing his jaw with her fingertip. "You don't apologize for wanting more. Most men settle. You take." He catches his reflection in the window behind her. For a split second, he doesn't recognize himself. "When's the last time you saw Theo?" she asks suddenly. He stiffens. "Last weekend." "You miss him?" "Of course I do." She nods, thoughtful. "Then why do you look relieved when he's not around?" He pulls away. "That's not true, isn't it?" She sits up, eyes sharp. "You light up when you're with me. With him, you look guilty, like you're playing a part." He stands abruptly, walks to the window. "You don't understand what it's like, being a father." She joins him, slips her arms around his waist. "Then make me understand. Bring him to lunch. Let me meet him." He freezes. "No," he says too quickly. She turns him around. "Why not?" "Because it's complicated. Everything worth having is," she whispers, kissing his neck. "I'm not asking to replace her, Alex. I'm asking to be part of your real life. Not the one you perform, the one you feel." He wants to believe her. God, he wants to. But deep down, where the truth lives, raw and unvarnished, he knows. Camille doesn't want Theo. She wants the idea of Theo. The idea of being the woman who tamed the Tycoon, who gave him back his soul, who stood beside him in photos with his son. Proof that she wasn't just a fling. She was the future. And Alexander, he lets her believe it. Because if he admits the truth, that he's terrified of failing his son, of disappointing him, of being the kind of father his own father was, then he'll have to face the man in the mirror. And that man, he's not someone Camille would want. One rainy afternoon, Camille shows up at his office unannounced. She's holding 2 tickets. "Paris," she announces, dropping them on his desk. "Next week. For days. No meetings, no calls, just us." He stares at them. "I can't. Theo has a school recital." She sighs, exasperated. "You're still letting her control your schedule?" "It's not control. It's responsibility." She steps closer, voice low, dangerous again. "Responsibility is what you do when you're afraid to be free. I didn't fall for the CEO of Vance Holdings. I fell for the man who kissed me like he was starving. Where is he, Alex? Did she bury him too?" He doesn't answer. She picks up the tickets, tears them in half, slowly, deliberately. "Then go to the recital," she says, tossing the pieces onto his desk. "Wear your dad jeans, clap for your kid. And when you're sitting there, watching him sing off-key in a paper crown, ask yourself, is this really all you were meant for?" She walks out. He doesn't stop her. That night, he comes home late. Isabella is waiting in the living room. Theo's asleep upstairs. She doesn't ask where he's been. She just hands him a photo. It's from that morning. Camille, outside his building, tearing up the tickets. Paparazzi caught it. Tabloids already running headlines. Tycoon's mistress throws Paris trip away. Is the honeymoon over? Isabella's voice is calm. Too calm. She's playing you, Alexander. And you're letting her. He doesn't deny it. Why? Isabella asks, tears finally spilling. Why her? What does she have that I don't? He looks at her, really looks, at the woman who nursed him through pneumonia, who memorized his coffee order, who held his hand during his father's funeral, who stayed up all night sewing a dinosaur costume for Theo's Halloween play. And he can't answer, because the truth is too ugly. Camille doesn't have anything Isabella doesn't. She just has less history, less weight, less love. And right now, that's exactly what he thinks he wants. You feel the tragedy unfolding, not with screams, not with slammed doors, but with silence, with glances, with tickets torn in half, with a mother holding a photo of her husband's mistress, with a little boy asking, "Daddy, why don't you laugh with Mama anymore?" Camille Dubois didn't break Alexander Vance. She didn't have to. She just held up a mirror. And he liked the man he saw in it, even if that man was a lie, even if that man was already crumbling, even if that man was about to stand at the foot of a staircase and see everything he'd thrown away, held gently in the arms of the woman who still loved him. Despite it all, the storm is coming, and Camille, Isabella doesn't look at him. She cuts her salmon with slow, deliberate precision. The knife scrapes against the plate, a sound so small, so loud. You feel the dread curling in your stomach. Something is coming. You don't know what, but you know it's gonna break everything. He clears his throat. "Theo asked about you today, at school. He said you promised to read him the Gruffalo before bed." She doesn't pause, doesn't look up. "I did. He said you fell asleep halfway through." A ghost of a smile touches her lips. "He stole my blanket and wrapped himself around me like a koala. I didn't stand a chance." Alexander exhales, tries to anchor himself in the normalcy, in the small, sweet memory. "He's growing so fast." "Yes," she says softly. "He is." Silence again. The clock on the mantel ticks. 1, 2, 3. You hold your breath. Then, she sets her fork down, delicately, purposefully, wipes her mouth with the linen napkin, folds it, places it beside her plate, and finally, she looks at him, not with anger, not with tears, with clarity. "Alexander," she says, voice steady low, "are you leaving us?" The words hang in the air like shattered glass, suspended, sharp, waiting to fall. He doesn't flinch, doesn't look away, but you see it, the flicker in his throat, the way his fingers curl into the edge of the table, the way his breath catches just for a heartbeat before he forces it steady. "I haven't packed yet," he says, quiet, flat. It's not a denial, it's a confession. Isabella closes her eyes, just for a second, as if absorbing the blow, as if letting the truth settle into her bones. When she opens them, they're dry, clear, terrifyingly calm. "Camille," she says, not a question, a statement. He doesn't answer, doesn't need to. "She's young," Isabella continues, voice still soft, almost conversational. "Beautiful, ambitious, everything I'm not anymore. You're everything," he mutters, almost to himself. She smiles, a sad, knowing curve of her lips. "No, Alexander, I'm familiar. I'm the wallpaper you stopped seeing. The song you've heard too many times to notice the melody." He looks down. Shame burns behind his eyes. "She makes you feel alive again," Isabella says. "I see it. The way you smile at your phone. The way you shave more carefully on the days you see her. The way you come home later and later and later." He doesn't deny it. "I'm not angry," she whispers. "I'm tired." He looks up sharply. "Tired? Tired of pretending I don't know. Tired of waiting for you to come back to me. Tired of loving a ghost." Her voice cracks just once, just enough to make your heart clench. Alexander stands abruptly. Chair scrapes against hardwood. "Isabella, don't," she says, holding up a hand, not commanding, begging. "Don't make this harder than it has to be." He stares at her, at the woman who memorized his allergies, who held his head while he vomited after his first scotch, who stayed up all night sewing his ripped suit before his biggest pitch, who whispered, "You can do this," when he thought he'd fail, The woman who gave him Theo. The woman who still smells like home. I didn't plan this, he says, voice rough. It just happened. She laughs. A quiet, broken sound. That's the worst part, isn't it? You didn't choose to destroy us. You just let it happen. Like forgetting to water a plant. Like leaving a window open in the rain. He steps toward her. I can fix this. I can... No, she interrupts, standing now too. You can't. She walks around the table, stops inches from him, looks up into his eyes, the eyes she's loved since they were 26 and poor and dreaming under subway lights. You don't want to fix this, Alexander, she says, voice trembling now, tears finally spilling, silent, dignified, devastating. You want to be free, and that's okay. I won't chain you. I won't beg. I won't scream. I'll just let you go. He reaches for her. Isabella, please. She steps back, out of his reach, and you feel it, the chasm opening between them. Not with a roar, with a whisper. I need you to tell me, she says, wiping her cheek with the back of her hand. Look me in the eye and tell me you're leaving. Not for a trial separation. Not for space. Not for clarity. Tell me you're walking away. For her. For good. He doesn't speak. His silence is answer enough. She nods. Once. Firm. Final. Then go, she says. But don't come back pretending you still belong here. Don't come back expecting forgiveness. Don't come back expecting me. He swallows. Hard. What about Theo? Her face hardens. Just slightly. Protective. Maternal. Fierce. He has me, she says. And if you're the man I once believed you were, you'll fight to be in his life. Not as a weekend guest. Not as a checkbook. As his father. But that's your choice. Not mine. She turns. Walks toward the stairs. He doesn't stop her. At the foot of the staircase, she pauses. Doesn't look back. Pack your things tomorrow, she says, voice barely above a whisper. I'll be at my mother's with Theo. You won't have to see us. And then she's gone. Alexander stands alone in the dining room. The candle flickers. The rose wilts slightly in its vase. You feel his breath come in short, ragged bursts. You feel the weight of what he's done, not in grand gestures, but in quiet surrenders, in missed goodnights, in distracted smiles, in texts left unanswered, in kisses given to someone else. He walks to the window, presses his forehead against the cool glass. Outside, the city glitters, indifferent, unmoved. Inside, a family has just died, and he killed it. Hours later, long after midnight, you find him sitting on the edge of Theo's bed. The boy is asleep, curled around his stuffed dinosaur, mouth slightly open, eyelashes fluttering with dreams. Alexander watches him, memorizes the curve of his cheek, the way his tiny fingers grip the blanket, the soft sound of his breathing. He reaches out, brushes a lock of hair from Theo's forehead. The boy stirs, mumbles, "Daddy." Alexander freezes. "Yeah, buddy, it's me." Theo doesn't open his eyes, just snuggles deeper into the pillow. "Love you, Daddy." "I love you too, Theo," Alexander whispers, voice thick. "More than anything." The boy sighs, drifts back to sleep. Alexander doesn't move, doesn't breathe. He just watches, listens, absorbs, because he knows this might be the last time he tucks him in. The last time he hears "I love you" without guilt clawing at his chest. The last time he's allowed to touch him without permission. He leans down, kisses Theo's forehead, lingers, breathes him in soap and sleep and innocence. "I'm sorry," he whispers. "I'm so sorry." He stands, backs away, like a thief leaving the scene of the crime. Downstairs, he finds a note on the kitchen counter, written in Isabella's neat, looping script. *Alexander, the guest room is made up. Don't go into our bedroom. Theo's school schedule is on the fridge. His allergy meds are in the blue cabinet. His favorite cereal is running low. Don't make this harder for him than it has to be. No anger, no blame, just instructions. like he's a visitor, like he's already gone. He picks up the note, holds it, then slowly, deliberately, folds it, pockets it, as if keeping it will somehow keep her close. Morning comes too soon. Gray light filters through the curtains. The house is quiet, empty. Isabella and Theo are gone. He walks through the rooms like a ghost, touches the back of the couch where she used to sit, runs his hand over the kitchen counter where she chopped vegetables while humming off-key, stands in the doorway of Theo's room, breathing in the silence. He goes to the guest room, sits on the edge of the bed, stares at his hands. His phone buzzes. Camille, did you tell her? He doesn't answer. Camille, Alex, tell me you did it. Tell me you're free. He types, deletes, types again. Alexander, it's done. Camille. Party popper bottle with popping cork come over. I'll order champagne. We'll celebrate. He stares at the message. Celebration? There's nothing to celebrate. Only wreckage. Only silence. Only a little boy who doesn't know his world just shattered. He stands, walks to the window, looks out at the garden. Isabella's roses, still blooming despite the cold. He thinks of her smile, her laugh, the way she used to dance barefoot in the kitchen when she thought no one was watching. He thinks of Theo's sleepy, I love you. He thinks of Camille's champagne. And for the first time, he feels no excitement, no relief, no freedom, only loss, deep, hollow, irreversible. He doesn't go to Camille's, not yet. Instead, he drives to the office, sits in his chair, stares at the skyline he built. His assistant knocks. Mr. Vance? The Singapore call is in 5. He doesn't answer. She knocks again. Sir, cancel it, he says, voice hollow. Cancel everything. She hesitates. Is everything all right? He looks at her, really looks, and she sees it. The man who commanded mergers and terrified investors? He's gone. In his place, a father, a husband, a man who just realized he threw away everything that mattered. For a lie. That night, he sits alone in the penthouse Camille insisted they move into. All glass and steel and emptiness. She's in the shower, singing, happy. He stares at his phone, scrolls to Theo's last photo, dressed as a pirate for Halloween, grinning with a plastic sword. He zooms in, studies his son's eyes, so much like Isabella's, so much like his own. He types a message. Alexander. Can I see him this weekend? He waits. 1 minute. 5, 10. No reply. He sends another. Alexander. Please. Isabella. I just want to take him to the park. Like old times. Still nothing. Camille walks out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel, hair dripping. Who are you texting? He locks his phone. No one. She frowns. You're lying. He doesn't answer. She walks over, sits on his lap, traces his jaw. You told her, didn't you? It's over. You're mine now. Stop looking back. He closes his eyes, wants to believe her, wants to feel the thrill again. But all he feels is the echo of Theo's voice. Love you, Daddy. And Isabella's. Don't come back expecting me. The next morning, he receives an email from Isabella's lawyer. Subject, formal separation agreement and temporary custody arrangement. He opens it, schemes the legalese, then stops. Mr. Vance will be granted supervised visitation every other Saturday, 10 a.m., 2 p.m., at a neutral location to be determined. Overnight visits suspended pending psychological evaluation of minor child's emotional stability post-parental separation. Supervised. Like a criminal. Like a threat. He slams his laptop shut. Camille walks in sipping coffee. Bad news. He doesn't answer. She peers at the screen. Sees the email subject. Smiles. Good, she says. Now you're free. He looks at her. Really looks. And for the first time, he doesn't see passion. He doesn't see freedom. He sees the future. Cold. Empty. Alone. And he realizes he didn't leave Isabella for Camille. He left himself. And now he has to live with what's left. The storm is coming. And this time, there's no one left to hold him. No one left to forgive him. 6 weeks since Theo's voice, "Love you, Daddy," became the last thing he heard in that house. And now he's back. Not to beg, not to reconcile, just to collect the last of himself. Camille leans against the Bentley, scrolling through her phone, sunglasses hiding her eyes. She's dressed for a photo shoot, cream trench, knee-high boots, hair perfectly tousled. She looks like she belongs on a magazine cover. Not here, not in the quiet, leaf-strewn driveway of a home that still smells like family. "You're hesitating," she says without looking up. "Why?" He doesn't answer. Because how do you explain to someone like her, someone who sees love as a transaction, loyalty as a weakness, that stepping back into that house feels like walking into his own funeral? "I told you," he says finally, voice low. "She won't be here. She's at her mother's. The staff will let us in." Camille glances at him, smirks. Good. Less drama. She strides toward the front door like she owns it. He follows slower, heavier, each step echoing with memory. The door opens before they reach it. Mrs. Ruiz, the housekeeper for 20 years, stands in the foyer. Her eyes, usually warm, crinkled with smiles, are flat, cold. "Mr. Vance," she says, voice clipped. "You're here for your things." It's not a greeting. It's an indictment. He nods. "Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Ruiz." She doesn't smile, doesn't move aside, just stares at Camille. "And you are?" Camille extends a manicured hand. "Camille Dubois, Alexander's partner." Mrs. Ruiz doesn't take it, just steps back. "Your boxes are in the library. I suggest you take them and leave quickly." Camille's smile tightens. "Charming staff you have." Alexander doesn't respond. He walks past Mrs. Ruiz, heart pounding, the scent of lemon polish and Isabella's vanilla candle hitting him like a punch to the chest. The house is quiet, too quiet. No cartoons blaring from the TV. No tiny footsteps thundering down the hall. No Isabella humming in the kitchen. Just silence, and the weight of what he destroyed. Camille wanders ahead, running her fingers along the banister, peering into rooms like she's appraising real estate. This place is stunning. So much character. We could totally open it up, knock down a few walls, bring in some steel, make it modern. It's begging for a rebirth. Alexander stops, stares at her. "You think this is a renovation project?" he asks, voice dangerously quiet. She turns, surprised. "Well, yeah, it's just a house, Alex. Houses can be remade. People too." He doesn't answer, just walks toward the library. Boxes are stacked neatly by the door. His suits, his books, his father's watch, his golf trophies, his life reduced to cardboard and packing tape. He kneels, opens one. Inside, Theo's baby shoes. Blue, worn at the heel. He picks one up, presses it to his chest. Camille watches him, frowns. "Why do you still have those?" He doesn't answer. She kneels beside him, touches his arm. "Alex, don't do this to yourself. That life is over. This," she gestures around them, "is the past. We're building something new, something better." He looks at her, really looks, and for the first time he doesn't see passion. He sees possession. He sees a woman who doesn't want him. She wants the idea of him, the trophy, the tycoon, not the father, not the husband, not the man who cries over baby shoes. He stands abruptly. "I need a minute," she sighs. "Fine, I'll check out the master bedroom. I want to see where you used to sleep." He doesn't stop her. He can't, because he's drowning. In memory, in guilt, in the scent of Theo's shampoo still clinging to the curtains. He walks to the window, stares out at the garden. The swing Isabella hung from the oak tree. The sandbox Theo outgrew last summer. The rose bushes she planted the year they married. He closes his eyes and hears her voice. "Don't come back expecting me." He should leave, take the boxes, walk away, live his new life, but his feet won't move, because something inside him, something deeper than pride, deeper than desire, deeper than fear, is screaming, "Look up," and so he does, slowly, reluctantly, heart hammering against his ribs. And there, at the top of the stairs, Isabella. Not in the master bedroom, not at her mother's. Here, standing tall, calm, unbroken, and in her arms Theo, wide-eyed, sleep-mussed, smiling. "Daddy!" The boy shrieks, squirming, reaching, aching to run to him. Alexander's breath catches. His knees lock. His world tilts. Because he didn't just walk into a house. He walked into a reckoning. Isabella doesn't move, doesn't speak, just holds their son and watches him, not with rage, not with tears, with something far more devastating. Knowing. She knew he'd come. She knew Camille would be with him. She knew he'd think she'd be gone. And she waited, not to fight, not to beg, to show him what he threw away. Camille, sensing the shift, turns from the hallway, follows his gaze, and freezes. "Who is that?" she whispers. Alexander can't speak, can't breathe, can't think, because Theo is wriggling now, giggling, bouncing in Isabella's arms. "Mama, put me down. Daddy's here. Daddy's here." Isabella tightens her grip, not to punish, not to control, to protect. Her eyes never leave Alexander's. And in that silence, in that suspended, shattered moment, you feel it. The crack in his soul, the fracture in his chest, the truth, raw and bleeding. He didn't just leave a wife, he left a world. And now it's staring down at him, from the top of the stairs, holding everything he ever truly loved. Camille steps closer to him, grabs his arm. "Alex, what is this? You said she wouldn't be here." He doesn't answer, can't, because Isabella finally speaks. One word, soft, final. "Alexander." His name on her lips, not shouted, not hissed, just spoken, like a sigh, like a farewell, undoes him. He takes one step forward, then stops, because Isabella shakes her head, ever so slightly, a warning, a boundary. "Don't come closer." Camille, impatient, calls out, voice sharp with panic now, "Hi, I'm Camille, Alex's girlfriend. We're just here to pick up his things. We won't be long." Isabella's gaze flickers to her, just for a second. No anger, no jealousy, just pity. Then back to Alexander. "You didn't tell her about him, did you?" she asks, nodding at Theo. Alexander swallows. I was going to." "When?" Isabella asks, voice still calm. Too calm. "After the wedding? After the honeymoon? After she asked why you flinch every time a child laughs?" Camille's face falls. "He has a son?" Alexander turns to her. "Camille, it's not. It's everything." Isabella cuts in, her voice finally cracking, just a little. "He's everything." Theo, oblivious, giggles. "Daddy, come play trucks with me." Alexander's eyes burn. He blinks rapidly. Isabella adjusts Theo in her arms. "You can take your things. The staff packed them. They're by the door. Take them and go." "Isabella, please," he starts. "No," she says, firmer now. "You made your choice. Now live with it. But don't stand in my foyer and pretend you're still part of this. You walked away. So walk." Camille grabs his arm. "Let's just go. This is uncomfortable." He lets her lead him, like a ghost, like a man already dead. As they pass the packed boxes by the door, his suits, his books, his father's watch, he doesn't look at them. He looks back, up the stairs. Isabella is still there, still holding Theo, still watching him. And as he steps out into the sunlight, suitcase in hand, mistress at his side, empire at his feet, he knows he has never been poorer in his life. Camille pulls him toward the car. "What the hell was that? You never told me you had a kid." He doesn't answer. She yanks open the car door. "Alex, talk to me." He stops, turns to her, eyes hollow, voice dead. "I didn't tell you," he says, "because I didn't want to see the look on your face when you realized I'm not just a tycoon." He climbs into the car, slams the door, stares straight ahead. And for the first time in his life, Alexander Vance doesn't know where to go, because every road leads back to the stairs, and the woman who still holds his heart, even though he broke it. The drive back to the city is silent. Camille doesn't speak, doesn't touch him, just stares out the window, jaw clenched, fingers tapping furiously against her thigh. He doesn't care. He's not here. He's back there, on the stairs, in Theo's smile, in Isabella's silence, in the way she held their son not like a shield, like a truth. He parks outside her apartment, doesn't turn off the engine. "Get out," she says, voice icy. He doesn't move. She turns to him, eyes blazing. "I said get out." He looks at her, really looks, and sees the calculation, the disappointment, the inconvenience. "You don't want a child," he says quietly. She scoffs. "Of course I don't. I want you, the real you, not whatever that was back there. That was the real me," he says, voice breaking. "That's my son, my wife, my life." She stares at him, then laughs cold, sharp. "Then go back to them." He doesn't answer. She opens the car door, slams it, walks away without looking back. He watches her go and feels nothing, no regret, no longing, just emptiness. That night, alone in the penthouse, he sits on the floor surrounded by boxes. He opens one, Theo's baby shoes. He picks one up, holds it, presses it to his lips, and weeps. Not for Camille, not for the penthouse, not for the empire, but for the boy on the stairs, and the woman who still loved him enough to let him see what he lost. The storm isn't coming anymore. It's here. And Alexander, he's standing in the rain, alone, soaked, shattered, and for the first time, he doesn't want to run. He wants to climb, back up those stairs. But Alexander, he's not thinking about her. He's not thinking about the penthouse, not about the empire, not about the future. He's thinking about the stairs, about Isabella standing there, calm, unshaken, holding their son like a queen holding her kingdom, about Theo's voice, bright, trusting, aching with love, screaming, "Daddy!" Like nothing in the world had changed, like his father hadn't shattered their universe 6 weeks ago, like he still believed in him. Alexander closes his eyes and sees it again, the way Isabella's fingers curled protectively around Theo's back, the way her gaze didn't waver, not when Camille spoke, not when he stumbled for words, not when the air thickened with betrayal. She didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't throw anything. She just showed him what he'd abandoned. And God, it's worse than any rage, worse than any curse, worse than any courtroom battle, because silence is the loudest damn thing in the world when it's filled with everything you destroyed. He opens the car door, steps out. The autumn wind bites his neck. The gravel crunches under his shoes. The house looms ahead, not cold, not empty, alive, with memory, with presence, with the ghost of every laugh, every fight, every whispered "I love you" that ever echoed in its halls. He walks back to the front door, still open. Mrs. Ruiz stands in the foyer, arms crossed, face unreadable. "You forgot your watch," she says flatly, holding out a small velvet box. His father's heirloom, the one he wore on his wedding day. He takes it, doesn't speak. She doesn't move aside. "Is she still here?" he asks, voice rough. Mrs. Ruiz doesn't answer, just stares at him. Then slowly, she steps to the side. He walks in. The scent of home hits him like a fist to the chest, lemon polish, vanilla, Theo's strawberry shampoo, Isabella's lavender hand cream. The air hums with absence, and with her presence. She's here, somewhere. He can feel it. He walks toward the staircase, stops at the bottom, looks up. The hallway is empty, but a door is slightly ajar, Theo's room. He climbs the stairs, slowly, each step heavier than the last. His heart hammers, his palms sweat. He doesn't know what he's going to say, doesn't know if he's allowed to speak at all. He reaches the door, pushes it open, and there they are, Isabella sits on the edge of Theo's bed, back to him, gently rocking their son, who's curled in her lap, half asleep, clutching his stuffed dinosaur. She doesn't turn around, but she knows he's there. You can feel it, the shift in the air, the tension, the unspoken war. Theo stirs, peeks over her shoulder, sees him. His face lights up. "Daddy!" He squirms, trying to jump off her lap. Isabella holds him tighter. "Shoo, sweetheart. It's late. You need to sleep." "But Daddy's here." Theo whines, reaching out. "Daddy, come read me a story." Alexander takes a step into the room. I can read to him. Just one. Then I'll go." Isabella doesn't look at him. Voice low, controlled. "You don't get to walk in here and play father after 6 weeks of silence." "I didn't know." "You didn't ask." She cuts in, finally turning to face him. Her eyes are dry, sharp, devastating. "You didn't call. You didn't text. You didn't ask if he was eating, if he was sleeping, if he missed you. You just disappeared. And now you show up with her and expect to tuck him in like nothing happened." Theo, sensing the tension, stops squirming, looks between them, confused. "Mama? Why are you mad at Daddy?" Isabella closes her eyes, breathes, then forces a smile. "I'm not mad, baby. Daddy and I just need to talk." Alexander kneels beside the bed, reaches for Theo's hand. "Hey, buddy. I missed you." Theo beams. "I missed you too. Did you bring me a present?" Alexander's throat tightens. "No, buddy. Not this time." Theo's face falls, just a little. "Oh, okay." Isabella watches. Her expression doesn't change, but you see it, the flicker in her eyes, the pain, the rage she's burying for her son's sake. "Alexander," she says, voice trembling now, "get out." He doesn't move. "Please, let me read to him. Just one book. Then I'll leave. I swear." She stares at him, long, hard, then looks down at Theo, at his hopeful eyes, his tiny fingers gripping Alexander's. And she relents. Not for him, for Theo. 5 minutes, she says, voice icy. "Then you leave. And you don't come back unless I say so." He nods, swallows. "Thank you." She stands, walks to the door, pauses, looks back. "If you break his heart again," she whispers, "I will make sure you never see him again. Not in a courtroom, not in a photo, not even in a dream." Then she's gone. Alexander sits on the edge of the bed, opens Theo's favorite book, Where the Wild Things Are. Theo snuggles close, smells his shirt. "You smell different, Daddy." Alexander's voice cracks. "I know, buddy. I'm sorry." He starts reading. Theo listens, eyes heavy, fingers tracing the pictures. Halfway through, the boy mumbles, "Daddy, are you coming home soon?" Alexander freezes. The words lodge in his throat like glass. He looks down. Theo's eyes are closed, breathing slow, asleep. He closes the book, gently pulls the blanket over his son, strokes his hair, and whispers, voice breaking, "I don't know, buddy. I don't know if I deserve to." He stands, walks to the door, pauses, looks back. Theo is asleep, peaceful, whole, unaware that his world was torn in half. Alexander steps into the hallway. Isabella is waiting, arms crossed, face like stone. "He's asleep," he says. She doesn't respond. He walks toward her, stops inches away. "Isabella, I don't," she says, holding up a hand. "Don't say you're sorry. Don't say you'll change. Don't say you'll fight for us. I've heard it all before. From men like you, it's empty." He stares at her. "Then what do you want me to say?" She looks him in the eye. "Say nothing. Just go. And if you ever want to see him again, earn it." He doesn't move. She steps closer. Voice drops to a whisper. "You think you left me for her, but you didn't. You left yourself. And until you find that man again, the one who cried when Theo was born, the one who held my hand through miscarriages, the one who promised me forever, you don't get to be his father." "Not really." He flinches. She turns away, walks to her bedroom, closes the door, Softly, finally, he stands there, alone in the hallway. The house creaks around him. The clock ticks. The wind howls outside. And for the first time in his life, Alexander Vance doesn't know who he is. Not the tycoon, not the lover, not the husband, not even the father. Just a ghost, haunting the home he destroyed. He walks downstairs. Mrs. Ruiz is waiting by the door. She hands him a folded piece of paper. "From her," she says. He opens it. Alexander, you broke his heart today. He asked me why you didn't hug him. I didn't have an answer. If you ever want to fix this, start showing up. Not for me, for him. He folds it, pockets it, walks out into the night. The Bentley is still running. He gets in, stares at the steering wheel, doesn't drive, just sits and cries. Not loud, not dramatic, quiet, ugly, shuddering, because he finally understands. He didn't lose his wife. He lost his soul. And the only person who can help him find it is the little boy asleep upstairs, who still calls him daddy, who still believes in him, who still loves him, despite everything. The city lights blur through the windshield. His phone buzzes. "Camille, where are you? We need to talk." He doesn't answer. "Camille, Alex, I'm not angry. I just need to understand." He turns off the phone, leans his head against the wheel, and whispers into the silence, "I'm sorry, Theo. I'm so sorry, Isabella." The wind answers. The stars don't. He doesn't go back to the penthouse. He drives to a motel, pays cash, sits on the edge of the bed, stares at the wall, and makes a decision. Not for Camille, not for the board, not for his reputation, for Theo, for Isabella, for the man he used to be. He pulls out his phone, turns it back on, types one message. "Alexander, I'll be at the park tomorrow. 10 a.m. rain or shine. I'll wait, even if you don't come." He hits send, then turns off the phone again, lies down, closes his eyes, and for the first time in months, he doesn't dream of boardrooms, or mistresses, or money. He dreams of a little boy, on a swing, laughing, calling him daddy, and a woman, at the top of the stairs, watching him, with love, with pain, with hope. The storm isn't over, it's just beginning, and this time, Alexander won't run from it. He'll walk straight into it, barefoot, bleeding, begging, if he has to, because some things are worth breaking for. But now he's unraveling, and he doesn't care, because for the first time in years he feels something real. Not power, not lust, not ambition, guilt, regret, love. He stands, walks to the grimy window, pulls back the curtain. The parking lot is empty. A stray cat slinks between cars. The sky is bruised purple, dawn creeping in like a thief. He thinks of Theo, asleep, curled around his dinosaur, still believing in him, still calling him daddy, still waiting. He thinks of Isabella, standing at the top of the stairs, not screaming, not crying, just knowing he'd come, knowing he'd break, knowing he'd see. And God, that's what destroys him. Not her anger, her clarity. She saw him, all of him, the coward, the liar, the man who traded bedtime stories for boardrooms, lullabies for luxury, his son's smile for a mistress's touch. And she didn't flinch. She just held their child and let him drown in the truth. He closes his eyes, and it hits him, not as a memory, as a moment. The hospital room is too bright, too white, too loud. Machines beep, nurses murmur. Alexander paces, suit wrinkled, tie gone, hair wild. He hasn't slept in 30 hours, hasn't eaten, hasn't stopped praying. Isabella is in labor, 22 hours. She's exhausted, pale, shaking, but she won't scream, won't beg, just grips his hand and whispers, "Don't leave me." He doesn't, not for a second. And then a cry, sharp, strong, alive. The nurse places a tiny, red, squirming bundle on Isabella's chest. "It's a boy," she says, smiling. Isabella sobs, kisses his forehead, whispers, "Welcome home, Theo." Alexander stares and breaks. He stumbles into the hallway, slides down the wall, buries his face in his hands, and weeps. Ugly, gasping, shuddering sobs. A nurse pauses. "First time, Dad." He nods, unable to speak. She smiles. "Happens to the best of them." He looks up, voice cracked. "I'm not ready." She pats his shoulder. "No one is, but you'll learn." For him. He stands, walks back into the room. Isabella is asleep. Theo is swaddled in her arms. Alexander kneels beside the bed, touches his son's cheek, so small, so perfect, and whispers, voice trembling, "I promise you, I'll never fail you. I'll never leave you. I'll be the father you deserve, even if it kills me." Alexander opens his eyes. The motel room swims back into focus. His cheeks are wet, his chest hollow, his promise shattered. He made a vow to his son on the day he was born, and he broke it, not with a shout, not with a scandal, with silence, with absence, with choosing everything but him. He sinks to his knees beside the bed, presses his forehead to the thin mattress, and whispers into the dark, "I'm sorry, Theo. I'm so sorry." He doesn't pray, doesn't bargain, just begs, "Give me another chance. Please, I'll do better. I'll be better. I'll become better." The room doesn't answer. The sky doesn't. But his heart, the screaming. He showers in cold water, dresses in yesterday's clothes, doesn't shave, doesn't care. He drives to a diner, orders black coffee, sits in a corner booth, stares out the window. The city wakes up around him. Cars honk. People rush. Life moves on. But he's stuck. In that hospital room. On those stairs. In Theo's eyes. He pulls out his phone. Turns it on. No messages. Not from Isabella. Not from Camille. Not from anyone. He opens his contacts. Scrolls to Theo's school. Hovers over the call button. Doesn't press it. What would he say? "Hi. I'm the father who disappeared. Can I come watch my son eat lunch?" He puts the phone down. Stares at his coffee. Cold now. Like his hands. Like his heart. 9:45 a.m. He parks across from the park. The same one he used to take Theo to every Sunday. The swings. The slide. The sandbox. The bench where Isabella used to sit. Reading while he pushed Theo higher and higher. The boy shrieking with delight. He gets out of the car. Walks to the bench. Sits. Waits. The park is quiet. A few joggers. An old man walking his dog. A mom pushing a stroller. No Isabella. No Theo. He checks his watch. 10 a.m. Still no one. He stands. Paces. Sits again. 10:15. Still nothing. His stomach knots. His hands shake. Did she get the message? Did she ignore it? Does she hate him that much? He pulls out his phone. Types. "Alexander. I'm here. Waiting. Even if you don't come." Sends it. Pockets the phone. Stares at the swings. 10:32 a.m. Car pulls up. His breath catches. It's not hers. He slumps. 10:47 a.m. Another car. Closer. Black SUV. His heart stops. The door opens. Theo jumps out. Backpack bouncing, dinosaur hat crooked, sneakers untied. Isabella steps out behind him. She's wearing jeans. A sweater. No makeup. Her hair in a messy bun. She doesn't look at him. Just takes Theo's hand. Walks toward the playground. Alexander stands. Waits. Doesn't approach. Doesn't speak. Just watches. Theo sees him first. "Daddy!" he shrieks, breaking free from Isabella's grip and sprinting toward him. Alexander drops to his knees. Theo crashes into him, wraps his arms around his neck. "I missed you, Daddy." Alexander holds him, tight, so tight, breathing him in soap and grass and childhood. "I missed you too, buddy. So much." Theo pulls back, grins. "Did you bring my dinosaur book?" Alexander's throat tightens. "Not today." But I will. I promise. Theo nods. Okay, let's go on the swings. He tugs Alexander's hand. Alexander looks up. Isabella is standing a few feet away, arms crossed, face unreadable. He stands, holds Theo's hand, walks toward her, stops a few feet away. Thank you, he says, voice rough. She doesn't respond, just looks at Theo. Be careful on the swings, sweetheart, and hold Daddy's hand when you cross the path. Theo nods. Okay, Mama. He tugs Alexander toward the playground. Alexander hesitates, looks back at Isabella. She meets his gaze, and for the first time, she doesn't look angry. She looks tired, and that's worse, because anger can be fought. Tiredness? Tiredness means she's given up. He follows Theo to the swings, pushes him, listens to his laughter, watches his smile, and for the first time in months, Alexander feels something real. Not guilt, not regret, joy, small, fragile, but real. Isabella watches from the bench. Her hands are clenched in her lap, her eyes dry, but her heart breaking, because she sees it. The way Theo's face lights up when Alexander pushes him. The way he leans back, trusting his father to catch him. The way he screams, "Higher, Daddy, higher." And Alexander, he's smiling, really smiling. Not the polished boardroom smile, the real one, the one she fell in love with, the one Theo deserves. She closes her eyes, whispers to herself, "Don't let him break your heart again, Theo, please." The afternoon passes in a blur of swings, slides, and shared sandwiches. Alexander doesn't push, doesn't ask for more, just shows up. At 2 p.m., Isabella walks over. "Theo, time to go." Theo groans. "Ah, Mama, 5 more minutes." She shakes her head. "Nope, Daddy has to go too." Theo runs to Alexander, hugs him. "Bye, Daddy. Come back tomorrow." Alexander looks at Isabella. She doesn't answer. He looks down at Theo. "I'll try, buddy. I promise." Theo beams, runs to Isabella. She takes his hand, starts walking away. Alexander doesn't follow, just watches, until they reach the car, until Theo waves, until Isabella opens the door. Then she pauses, looks back, meets his gaze, and for the first time, she doesn't look away. She just nods, small, almost imperceptible, but it's there. A crack, a chance, a beginning. Alexander stands there, long after they're gone, long after the park is empty, long after the sun starts to set, and whispers to the wind, "I'll be back, Theo, I promise." This time, he means it. The storm isn't over, but for the first time, there's a light, faint, flickering, but there. And Alexander, he'll crawl through fire to reach it. For Theo, for Isabella, for the man he promised to be, on the day his son was born, and every day after, until he becomes him, again, no matter how long it takes. Now they're shaking, because they held Theo again, because they pushed him on the swing, because they wiped chocolate milk from his chin, because they remembered what they were made for. He pulls out his phone, types, "Alexander, thank you for today. I won't waste it." He hesitates, deletes it, types again, "Alexander, I'll be here tomorrow, same time, rain or shine." Sends it, pockets the phone, starts the car, drives, not to the penthouse, not to the office, to a bookstore. The bell above the door jingles. The smell of paper and ink and quiet settles over him like a blanket. He walks to the children's section, runs his fingers over the spines, stops at where the wild things are, picks it up, holds it, remembers Theo's sleepy eyes last night as he read it. He grabs 3 more. The Gruffalo, "Goodnight Moon, guess how much I love you." He pays in cash, walks out, drives to a florist, buys a single white rose, not for romance, for apology, for memory, for the woman who still wears his ring even though he doesn't deserve it. He drives to her street, parks a block away, walks to the house. The lights are on, the curtains drawn. He leaves the books and the rose on the front step, rings the bell, runs, not out of fear, out of respect, because he doesn't deserve to see her face when she finds them. He waits in the car, watches. 10 minutes later, the front door opens. Isabella steps out. She sees the rose, the books. She doesn't pick them up right away, just stares. Then she kneels, touches the rose, brings it to her nose, closes her eyes. You feel it, the tremor in her shoulders, the way her breath hitches, the way she presses the rose to her chest like it's a lifeline. She picks up the books, walks back inside, doesn't look around, doesn't search for him. But she knows he's there, watching, waiting, begging. The next morning, he's back at the park. 9:55 a.m. He's early. He sits on the same bench, watches the gate. His heart pounds. What if she doesn't come? What if she changed her mind? What if yesterday was a mistake? 10:03 a.m. The black SUV pulls up. His breath catches. Theo jumps out first. "Daddy!" he screams, sprinting toward him. Alexander stands, opens his arms. Theo crashes into him. "I missed you. I missed you too, buddy." Isabella walks over slowly. Her eyes are tired. Her sweater is the same one from yesterday. She doesn't smile, doesn't frown, just watches. "Did you bring the books?" Theo asks, pulling back. Alexander grins. "I did, but not today. Today we're going to the zoo." Theo's eyes widen. "Really?" Alexander looks at Isabella. "If it's okay with Mama." She studies him, long hard, then nods. 1 hour, and you're buying lunch." He exhales. "Deal." The zoo is crowded, bright, loud. Theo drags Alexander from exhibit to exhibit, shouting facts he learned from his dinosaur books. Alexander listens, really listens, doesn't check his phone, doesn't think about work, doesn't think about Camille, just Theo, just now, just this. At the lion enclosure, Theo tugs his hand. "Daddy, do you think lions miss their dads?" Alexander freezes, looks down. Theo's eyes are wide, serious. He kneels. "Why do you ask, buddy?" Theo shrugs. "Just wondering." Alexander's throat tightens. He pulls Theo close. "Lions are lucky. Their dads stay. Always." Theo nods. "Good." Isabella watches from a few feet away. Her arms are crossed, her face unreadable, but her eyes? Shiny, wet. She turns away, wipes her cheek, pretends to read a sign. Alexander sees it, and it guts him, because he knows. Theo isn't just asking about lions. He's asking about him. And Isabella? She's crying because she knows too. Lunch is quiet. Theo chatters. Alexander answers. Isabella sips her water, doesn't eat, doesn't look at him. When they're done, she stands. "Time to go." Theo groans. "Ah, Mama, 5 more minutes." She shakes her head. "Nope." Theo hugs Alexander. "Bye, Daddy. Come back tomorrow." Alexander looks at Isabella. She doesn't answer. He looks down at Theo. "I'll be here, buddy. I promise." Theo beams, runs to Isabella. She takes his hand, starts walking away. Alexander doesn't follow, just watches, until they reach the car, until Theo waves, until Isabella opens the door. Then she pauses, looks back, meets his gaze, and for the second time, she nods. But this time her lips curve, just slightly, just for a second. But it's there, a smile, fragile, flickering, but real. Alexander stands there, long after they're gone, long after the zoo is empty, long after the sun starts to set, and whispers to the wind, "I'm coming back, Theo, every day, until you don't have to ask if I'll return." That night, he sits in his motel room, stares at the wall. His phone buzzes. "Isabella, he asked for you 3 times tonight, before bed, during his bath, while brushing his teeth." Alexander's breath catches. He types, "Alexander, I'll be there tomorrow." "Isabella, he drew you a picture, a lion, with a crown. He says it's you." Alexander's eyes burn. Alexander, can I see it? Isabella, leave it at the step. Like the books. He doesn't answer, just types. Alexander, thank you. For today. For him. For you. No reply. He doesn't expect one. He lies down, closes his eyes, and for the first time in months, he doesn't dream of boardrooms, or mistresses, or money. He dreams of a little boy, on a swing, laughing, calling him daddy, and a woman, at the top of the stairs, smiling, just for him. The storm isn't over, but the rain is slowing, and Alexander, he'll stand in it, barefoot, bleeding, begging, if he has to, because some things are worth breaking for, worth bleeding for, worth becoming someone new for, even if it takes a lifetime, even if it starts with a single step back up the stairs, and a nod from the woman who still loves him, even though he doesn't deserve it. Yet, the rumble of an engine, his eyes snap open, the black SUV turns the corner, slows, stops. Theo bursts out before the car fully parks. "Daddy!" he shrieks, sprinting across the grass, backpack bouncing, dinosaur hat askew. Alexander drops to one knee. Theo crashes into him, arms flinging around his neck, smelling of soap and cereal and home. "I drew you another picture," Theo gasps, pulling back, eyes bright. "It's you and me and Mama and a T-Rex eating ice cream." Alexander laughs, real, warm, unguarded. "That sounds epic." He stands, holding Theo's hand, looks toward the car. Isabella is getting out. She's wearing a different sweater today, soft gray. Her hair is down. She doesn't rush, doesn't avoid his gaze, just walks toward them calm, quiet, watching. "Hi," Alexander says, voice low. She nods. "Hi." No venom, no ice, just presence. Theo tugs his hand. "Come on, Daddy. Let's go to the playground. I want to show you my new trick on the monkey bars." Alexander glances at Isabella. She gives a small shrug. "Go ahead. I'll be on the bench." He doesn't move right away, just looks at her. Really looks. There are shadows under her eyes, a new line between her brows. But her shoulders? Less tense. Her hands? Not clenched. She catches him staring, raises an eyebrow. "What?" He shakes his head. "Nothing. Just, thank you." She doesn't answer, just walks to the bench, sits, pulls out a book. But you see it, the way her fingers tremble slightly as she turns the page, the way she glances up just once to make sure Theo is safe, the way she doesn't look at Alexander. Not yet. The playground is alive with shrieks and laughter. Theo drags Alexander to the monkey bars. "Watch this, Daddy. I can do 5 now." He scrambles up, swings, grunts, makes it to the 5th bar. "Yes." Alexander cheers, clapping. "That's my boy." Theo beams, slides down, runs to him. "Did you see? Did you see?" "I saw, buddy. You're a ninja." Theo giggles. "Can we get ice cream after?" Alexander glances at Isabella. She's watching them now. Not reading, just watching. He walks over, Theo trailing behind. "Can we get ice cream?" he asks, voice low. "My treat." She studies him, then Theo, then back to him. One scoop, and he brushes his teeth after. Theo whoops. "Yes." Alexander smiles. "Deal." The ice cream shop is warm, smelling of sugar and melted chocolate. Theo orders mint chip with rainbow sprinkles. Alexander gets vanilla, Theo's favorite, not his own. Isabella orders nothing. They sit at a small table by the window. Theo chatters between bites, chocolate smeared on his cheek. Alexander watches him, doesn't speak, just listens. Isabella watches him, not Theo, him. The way he leans in when Theo talks, the way he wipes his son's face with a napkin, the way he doesn't check his phone, doesn't glance at his watch, doesn't seem to care that he's Alexander Vance, tycoon, empire builder, headline maker. Here, he's just daddy, and it's breaking her. You feel it, the tremor in her fingers as she wraps them around her untouched water glass. The way her breath hitches when Alexander laughs at something Theo says. The way her eyes soften, just for a second, when he reaches across the table to fix Theo's hat. She stands abruptly. "I'll wait outside." Alexander doesn't stop her, just nods. Theo doesn't notice, too busy licking sprinkles off his spoon. When they're done, Alexander carries Theo's backpack, walks him to the car. Isabella is leaning against the hood, arms crossed, staring at the sky. Theo runs to her. "Mama, Daddy let me have 2 scoops." She looks down, raises an eyebrow. "Did he now?" Alexander winces. 1 scoop, plus sprinkles. Technically still 1. She almost smiles. Almost. Theo hugs her leg. "Can Daddy come to my soccer game on Saturday?" Alexander freezes. Isabella's gaze snaps to him. Silence. Thick. Heavy. Theo looks between them. "Please, Mama? Daddy's never seen me play." Alexander doesn't speak. Doesn't beg. Just waits. Isabella looks down at Theo. At his hopeful eyes. His grass-stained knees. His dinosaur socks. She sighs. Looks at Alexander. 1 hour. You show up. You cheer. You leave when I say. No photos. No press. No Camille. His heart stops. "Camille?" he asks, voice rough. She raises an eyebrow. "You think I don't know she's still texting you?" He flinches. "I haven't answered her in weeks." "Good," she says, voice flat. "Keep it that way." She opens the car door. Saturday, 10 a.m. Field B. Don't be late. Theo whoops. "Yes, Daddy's coming." He hugs Alexander. "Bye, Daddy. Don't forget." "I won't, buddy. I promise." Theo climbs in. Isabella pauses before closing the door. Looks at Alexander. "You break his heart again," she whispers. "And I'll bury you." Then she's gone. Alexander stands there. Long after the car disappears. Long after the ice cream shop closes. Long after the sun dips below the trees. His phone buzzes. "Camille, we need to talk." Now, he doesn't answer. "Camille, Alex. I saw the photos. The park. The zoo. The ice cream. Who is she? Who is the kid?" He types. "Alexander, my son." "Camille, you never told me you had a child." "Alexander, I told you I was broken. You said you'd fix me. But you don't want broken. You want polished. You want a trophy, not a father." "Camille, I love you." "Alexander, no. You love what I represent. The empire. The name. The power. Not the man who cries over baby shoes. Not the man who reads bedtime stories. Not the man who begs for a second chance. Camille, come over. Let's talk." "Alexander." There's nothing left to say. He turns off his phone, walks back to his car, drives to the motel, sits on the edge of the bed, stares at the wall, and for the first time, he doesn't feel guilt. He doesn't feel regret. He feels hope, fragile, flickering, but real, because Isabella didn't just let him see Theo. She let him into his life, the soccer game, the routine, the normalcy, and that's worth more than any empire, more than any mistress, more than any lie he ever told himself. That night he dreams of the field, Theo in his tiny cleats, running, laughing, waving at him from the grass. Isabella on the sidelines, not smiling, but not looking away, and him, standing there, clapping, cheering, proud. Oh, the storm isn't over, but the clouds, they're parting, and Alexander, he'll stand in the rain, barefoot, bleeding, begging, if he has to, because some things are worth breaking for, worth bleeding for, worth becoming someone new for, even if it takes a lifetime, even if it starts. He buys a thermos of coffee, 2 muffins, 1 blueberry, Theo's favorite, 1 bran, Isabella's. He doesn't know if she'll take it, doesn't care. He's learning love isn't about guarantees. It's about showing up, even when you're not sure you're wanted. He parks a block from the field, walks the rest, doesn't want to seem like he's arriving like a CEO, wants to arrive like a dad. Field B is easy to find. A sea of tiny shin guards and shrieking children. Parents huddled under umbrellas, coaches blowing whistles, the scent of rain and popcorn thick in the air. And then he sees them, Theo, in his bright yellow jersey, number 7, bouncing on his toes, helmet askew, waving wildly at the sideline. And Isabella, standing a few feet away, arms crossed, collar turned up against the drizzle, eyes scanning the field. Not for goals, not for fouls. For him. Alexander walks over, stops a few feet away. "Morning," he says, voice low. She doesn't look at him. "You're early." Couldn't sleep. She finally glances at him, takes in his hoodie, his sneakers, the thermos in his hand. "You look different." He smiles slightly. "Good different." She doesn't answer, just looks back at Theo. Alexander holds out the muffins. Blueberry for the MVP, bran for the coach. She hesitates, then takes the bran. Doesn't thank him, just unwraps it. Takes a small bite. He doesn't push, just stands beside her, shoulder almost brushing hers. Close enough to feel the warmth of her, far enough to respect the wall she's still rebuilding. Theo spots him, waves frantically. "Daddy, Daddy, I'm number 7. Alexander waves back. "I see you, champ. Lookin' fast." Theo grins, turns to his teammate. "That's my dad. He owns buildings." Isabella snorts softly. He owned buildings. Now he owns a hoodie and a thermos. Alexander chuckles. Downsizing has its perks. She doesn't smile, but her shoulders relax. Just a little. The game starts. Theo spends more time chasing butterflies than the ball. Alexander cheers anyway. Every time Theo kicks the air. Every time he falls. Every time he gets back up. "He's not very good," Isabella murmurs. "He's 6, Alexander replies. "He's perfect." She glances at him, really looks, and for the first time you see it. Not just tiredness, not just pain, wonder, like she's seeing him again. The man she married, the man who cried when Theo was born, the man who promised to never fail him, the man who's trying, really trying, to come back. At halftime, Theo sprints over, cheeks flushed, grass stains on his knees. "Daddy, did you see? I almost scored." "I saw, buddy. You were lightning." Theo beams, turns to Isabella. "Mama, Daddy said I was lightning." Isabella ruffles his hair. "You're a hurricane, sweetheart. A tiny, chaotic hurricane." Theo giggles, grabs the blueberry muffin. "Can Daddy sit with us at lunch?" Alexander holds his breath. Isabella looks at him, long hard. Then 1 hour, no phones, no work talk, and you're buying. Theo whoops. "Yes." Alexander exhales. "Deal." Lunch is at a diner near the field. Booth by the window. Rain streaks the glass. Theo chatters nonstop about the game, about his friends, about the dinosaur he wants for his birthday. Alexander listens, really listens, doesn't interrupt, doesn't check his phone, doesn't think about the board meeting he's missing, doesn't think about Camille's unanswered texts. Just Theo, just now, just this. Isabella watches him, quietly, carefully, like she's studying a stranger, or maybe relearning a ghost. When Theo runs to the bathroom, she finally speaks. "You're different." He looks up. "I'm trying to be." "Why now?" she asks, voice low. "After everything. After Camille. After the silence. After you walked out. Why fight now?" He doesn't look away. "Because I saw him on the stairs, holding our son. And I realized I didn't just leave you. I left me, the man I promised to be, the father Theo deserves. And I don't want to be the man who chose everything but them. I want to be the man who chooses them, every day, even when it's hard, even when I don't deserve it." She stares at him, eyes glistening. "You broke him, Alexander. He asked me every night for 2 weeks if you were coming back. If you forgot him, if he did something wrong." His throat tightens. "I'm sorry." "Sorry doesn't fix it," she whispers. "Showing up does. And even that, it's not enough. Not yet." I know, he says. I'll keep showing up. Every day. For as long as it takes. She looks down, fingers tracing the rim of her coffee cup. Camille called me. His blood runs cold. What? Yesterday. Left a voicemail. Said she wanted to clear the air. Said you never told her about Theo. That you hid him. He closes his eyes. I didn't hide him. I just didn't know how to tell her. How to explain that the most important part of me wasn't part of the package she signed up for. Isabella looks up. And what package was that? The billionaire? The tycoon? The man who doesn't cry, doesn't break, doesn't beg. He meets her gaze. The man I was pretending to be. Not the man I am. Not the man you married. Not the man Theo needs. She holds his gaze. Long, hard. Then she nods. Just once. But it's enough. Theo runs back. Slides into the booth. Can Daddy come to my birthday party? Alexander looks at Isabella. She doesn't answer right away. Just looks at Theo. At his hopeful eyes. His grass-stained knees. His dinosaur socks. Then, she looks at Alexander. 1 hour. You show up. You smile. You leave when I say, no gifts. No grand gestures. Just be there. Theo whoops. Yes. Alexander smiles. I'll be there, buddy. I promise. That night, Alexander sits in his motel room, stares at the wall. His phone buzzes. Camille, you're making a mistake. She's using you. Theo is a leash. She's tying you down so you'll never leave. He doesn't answer. Camille, come back to me. We can start over. No kid. No wife. Just us. Like it was meant to be. He types. Alexander, it was never meant to be. Because I was never meant to be without them. Camille, you'll regret this. Alexander, I already regret everything else. He turns off his phone, walks to the window, stares at the rain. And for the first time, he doesn't feel guilt. He doesn't feel regret. He feels peace. Fragile, flickering, but real. Because Isabella didn't just let him see Theo. She let him into his life. The soccer game, the routine, the normalcy. And that's worth more than any empire, more than any mistress, more than any lie he ever told himself. The storm isn't over, but the clouds, they're parting. And Alexander, he'll stand in the rain, barefoot, bleeding, begging, if he has to, because some things are worth breaking for, worth bleeding for, worth becoming someone new for, even if it takes a lifetime, even if it starts with a single step back up the stairs and a nod from the woman who still loves him. It's a Tuesday. Rain taps gently against the windows of Theo's classroom. Alexander stands outside the chain-link fence, hood pulled up, hands shoved deep in his pockets, watching through the glass as tiny bodies in colorful smocks huddle around easels, paintbrushes flying, laughter bubbling like a brook. He's not supposed to be here. Isabella doesn't know. He just needed to see him, needed to know he was okay, needed to remember what he was fighting for. Theo is at the front of the class, tongue poking out in concentration as he smears bright blue paint across a sheet of paper. His teacher, Ms. Rivera, kneels beside him, guiding his hand. Beautiful, Theo. What are you painting? Theo grins. It's my daddy. He's a lion king, with a crown and a big sword. Alexander's breath catches. He steps closer to the glass. Theo doesn't see him, but Ms. Rivera does. She looks up, meets his gaze, doesn't smile, doesn't frown, just nods, then turns back to Theo. Alexander doesn't move, can't, because Theo is talking now, voice loud with pride. My daddy comes to the park every day now. He pushes me on the swings. He bought me ice cream. He's gonna come to my birthday party. A little girl next to him giggles. Does he live with you? Theo pauses, brush hovering. No, but he's coming back. Mama says so. Alexander's heart shatters. Mama says so, not Daddy says so. Mama, because even Theo knows hope doesn't come from promises. Comes from her, from Isabella, the woman who holds their world together. The woman who lets him back in inch by inch, not because she believes in him, but because she believes in Theo. And that's the most devastating gift of all. He waits until the bell rings, watches the children pour out like a river of backpacks and squeals. Theo spots him first. "Daddy!" he shrieks, sprinting across the wet pavement, arms flung wide. Alexander drops to his knees, catches him, holds him, breathes him in. Theo pulls back, beaming. "Did you see my painting? I made you a Lion King." "I saw, buddy. It's awesome." Theo grabs his hand, tugs him toward the school doors. "Come see. Ms. Rivera said I can take it home today." Alexander lets himself be pulled, walks into the classroom. The walls are covered in art, handprints, suns, stick figure families, and there, front and center, is Theo's Lion King, a wild, roaring beast with a golden crown, standing tall on a mountain of buildings. Alexander stares. Theo points. "See? That's you. The buildings are your empire, and the crown is 'cause you're the best daddy ever." Alexander's throat tightens. "Theo, I'm not the best daddy." Theo frowns. "Yes, you are. You come every day. You read to me. You bought me ice cream." Alexander looks down. "But I left, buddy. For a while. I wasn't here." Theo shrugs. "You're here now. That's what Mama says. Daddy's here now. And she never lies." Alexander closes his eyes. Breathe. He opens them, looks at Ms. Rivera. "Thank you for letting him paint this." She smiles gently. "He talks about you all the time, every day. My daddy did this. My daddy said that. You're his hero, Mr. Vance." Alexander shakes his head. "I don't deserve that." She steps closer, lowers her voice. "Maybe not, but he believes it. And sometimes, that's enough to make it true." He doesn't answer, just takes the painting, folds it carefully, tucks it under his arm. He walks Theo to the car. Isabella is waiting, leaning against the hood, arms crossed, eyes sharp. She saw him. Of course she did. "You weren't supposed to be here," she says, voice low. "I know," he replies. "I just needed to see him." She studies him, then glances at the painting under his arm. "What's that?" Theo beams. "It's Daddy, as a Lion King, with a crown and buildings and a sword." Isabella's gaze flickers to the painting, then back to Alexander. Her expression doesn't change, but her voice softens, just a fraction. "You're not supposed to come to school." "I know," he repeats. "I'm sorry." She opens the car door. "Get in, Theo." Theo hugs Alexander. "Bye, Daddy. Come to the park tomorrow." "I'll be there, buddy. I promise." Theo climbs in. Isabella doesn't move, just looks at Alexander. "You're pushing," she says. "Too fast." He doesn't argue. "I know. He's fragile, Alexander. He believes in you, completely. And if you break that..." She shakes her head. "I won't survive it. And neither will he." He meets her gaze. "I won't break it. I won't break him. I won't break you. Not again." She stares at him, long, hard. Then she reaches out, takes the painting from his hands, unfolds it.